When I was growing up, Easter was never a religious celebration for us, but it was always one of my favorite holidays. I remember dyeing eggs and doing the egg toss and Easter egg baskets and things like that. And few things got my adrenaline pumping more than the Easter egg hunt. And it seems like every kid has a different strategy for that. Some of them only look for the biggest eggs to get the biggest prizes. Others open them up to see if they want to keep them or not before they even put them in the basket. Then others, it's just a mad dash to accumulate and to hoard as many eggs as they can, like it's a competition to see who can get the most. And it's all fun and games as kids, but I think as adults we sometimes take a similar approach to life. We at times treat life like it's all about just uncovering the best and biggest prizes, or like it's a competition to accumulate more than the people around us. And it's that same mindset that Jesus warned against in the Sermon on the Mount when he said, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on the earth." Now, the treasures that Jesus talks about doesn't necessarily have to be about money, but it's the idea of using material things in ways that God never intended for us to use them. Using the treasures of this world as a source of security or a source of happiness and joy or a source of status and identity. It's about trusting in the gifts themselves rather than the giver. And Jesus tells us why that's such a dangerous way to live. First, well, because it will be corrupted over time. He says the earth is where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. And so if we're using earthly treasures as a means of achieving happiness or success or comfort, then like putting all your eggs in one basket, we're going to wind up totally disappointed when it's taken from us or when it decays and fades away. But the other reason storing up treasures on earth is so dangerous is because it will corrupt who we are on the inside. He says, don't store up treasures on the earth, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. See, our heart is shaped internally by what our eyes value or treasure externally. For example, if on the outside our eyes are focused on the accumulation of wealth as a means of security or pleasure, then on the inside our hearts will be corrupted by greed and that insatiable desire for more. But Jesus offers something better. He says, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. So rather than using these treasures for my own personal benefit or enjoyment, he says, use them as a blessing to be shared with others and to show the glory and the goodness of God to the world around you. That's how we can store up treasures in heaven, not just by dropping money in a plate, but investing my time and my resources and energy and everything I have to the good of other people and to the glory of God. In other words, it's about using the earthly treasures that God has given me to show others how much God treasures them. And when our treasure is invested in that, when we store up treasures in heaven, then our heart, our character, the very core of who we are on the inside, our soul, will be there also. And that is something that will never decay, that can never be taken away. Living in America, materialism is in the very air that we breathe, and sadly, it's made all of our hearts sick with that similar corruption that is decaying this world. The truth is, we are such a greedy people. And so as we are blessed with earthly gain, enjoy them, of course, as blessings from God, but always remember that every blessing he pours out is to be turned back to praise and storing up treasures in heaven.